Hi everybody. This is part 3 of Elfen Lied, the video essay. It's finally here, guys. We finally did it.
It's a little bit different, but it's here.
This is my friend Salt. This is the main reason it's been taking so long, is that I had to show him the anime series, and then now we're reading the manga together, and we're gonna do this kind of off the cuff a little bit, but yeah. You've probably also noticed the length of this video, and I do apologize. We had to split this into 2 sessions.
It's so bad.
I could not talk about this manga alone, because after the manga strays away from the anime series, it just gets worse. It just gets worse. It was not my intention for this video to take a whole year, but I actually wrote out an entire script for part 3, and then I was like, this is trash, dog. And so I decided I needed help. I couldn't do this alone. So Salt is my support for this mission.
It was painful, but I did support my buddy all the way through.
Also, should also be noted that the anime series the first episode of the anime series came out 20 years ago at the time of this video. Not at the time of us recording it, but at the time that you're seeing this video up on my channel. 20th anniversary, everybody. The studio that made Elfen Lied is dead. They
20 years of mid.
They disbanded, but Elfen Lied is now officially a classic. No. It's old enough to buy cigarettes.
One more year, and it can be able to drink.
So when I had left off, the last thing I had talked about was Kurama's backstory, and like the end of the anime, and there's a lot of things that the anime changes from the manga towards the end, and I think the main reason for that is because they knew they weren't going to get a season 2, but they still kind of left in some open-ended parts of the story. But a lot of the last episode of Elfen Lied is filler. It didn't happen. You made it up. You're crazy.
And it is somehow better than what happens in the manga.
Yeah. It's so funny because when we were watching the anime, Salt and our other friend Pasta Man, who I had in the same video, we're all just baffled, like, this is the worst fucking thing ever. And I was still trying to tell them, like, well, the manga's worse, and I don't think they fully internalized that until Salt read it today. And it's worse. It's fucking worse.
I felt uncomfortable reading it. Like, I just felt gross.
In this one, so they elaborate on why he chose the name Diclonius, and they elaborate on the horns. The reason they named it after a fucking dinosaur, it is actually named after the dinosaur. They say that in the manga, and they tell you outright it's because of the horns, which is so funny, because the Diclonius dinosaurs do not have horns. Well, or they do, but like...
It's not really a horn, and it's not really the same kind of horn.
It looks jarringly different.
If you told
it does
me
not even look the fucking same, bro.
That's not even the same placement on where the horn is at.
I guess we could talk about Kurama's backstory. I already did a whole spiel about it in the last video, talking about the anime's iteration. So I think we can talk about how the manga is different from Kurama's backstory. What differences did you notice?
Okay, Kurama's wife is more prevalent.
So yeah, she plays a bigger role, but that's also to the whole thing's detriment, because she's like a fucking sheet of paper.
Yeah. It's also a little bit tonally less serious.
It's harder to take seriously, yeah, and the tragic parts are just like, here's the thing. What the anime has over this is that the sad moments are, at least there is some sort of emotional appeal. Even when the context for why is dumb, you do feel it, kind of. Like, it was very good. I think the music was mainly why. The background music was pretty good when it wasn't playing Lilium every other fucking 5 seconds. And the presentation was just a lot more theatrical and a lot more dramatic. But in the manga, this manga is not very good at drama. It's not. And this is also a good indicator as to why. Like, I think part of it is that the dialogue is so much more wordy. Like, you had said, there's so much fucking talking multiple times as we were reading this.
Yes, exactly. Like, there's full pages where, like, I'm pretty sure, like, 20% of the page was just words. Like, that's a pretty good amount.
It's mucho texto, the manga. but and it's just so much less subtle. It's more overdone. There's like this part where he starts like screaming and we both like burst out laughing. It's supposed to be like a sad moment, but we both burst out laughing because it's just so over the top for no reason.
Yes, and also when you do see Kurama's wife die again, it's totally different from the anime, and it's just like the face she does in the manga it just comes off more funny than anything.
Well, that's a lot of that's the fault of the art style. But it's like, I think another thing is like, this manga is very bad at shifting tone. It's like he can't really figure out how to balance comedy and drama, so he kind of mixes the two together, and what you get is just complete tonal whiplash during chapter transitions or during like a very serious moment, but then we throw in a stupid little fucking gag where someone's being autistic. Like,
and panty shots.
Yeah, that too. A lot of needless, unnecessary panty shots. But I mean, that's like most anime these days. An example is like in the anime series, you have this really, really good scene where Kurama reunites with his daughter, and then the bomb inside her goes off, and they hug tightly, and like for a brief glimpse, he imagines the family together that they never had. And the manga does this too. Not quite the exact same, but we do get a moment where you get to see a brief glimpse of Kurama's family in the anime, and the family he never got to have. And it's like, the whole thing is just Mariko yapping a lot. Like, she just won't shut up. Like, going on and on and on. And that's the thing. Is not confident in its writing. It has to tell you how to feel. It has to tell you the depth behind everything. It writes like a 10-page essay about everybody and just says it out loud, and it's not endearing writing. Basically, like, what's happening is they send out Mariko to go hunt down Lucy, and it's revealed that actually no, Mariko is Kurama's daughter, and she reunites with Kurama and learns about this, and then she's upset because Kurama abandoned her, and she spent her whole life in a dark fucking cellar.
Borderline a dungeon.
Yeah. Now it's basically her throwing a hissy fit, fighting against all the soldiers. They can't wrangle her. The guy that has the remote for her bomb, like, is basically held hostage. And Bondo comes in. He tries to stop Mariko. And so it's like Bondo versus Mariko. This part, honestly, was sick as hell. And I remember both of us fucking shouted in, like, hype.
Yeah, Bondo is easily also the best part of the manga. So what happens is that Bondo shoots an RPG at Mariko, and I think she grabbed the rocket with her vectors, right?
Yeah.
But then Bondo pulls out a pistol and shoots the RPG missile. It's
just
so
to set off
good.
an explosion, like, right next to her. It doesn't kill her, which I thought was bullshit. But, like, you know, there are points, and this was not in the anime. That's what's also frustrating to me, is that we don't at least get to see Bondo do that shit. Because there are a lot of points where Bondo just locks the fuck in, and it's awesome. Right after that moment, while we're on the topic of fucking tonal whiplash, okay, admittedly, it's not entirely the manga's fault, because the site we were reading this on, it moved us forward a chapter, and then we read through that part, and then it like went back, and then we read the same part again by accident. I don't know what happened or what the site was cooking there, but
yeah, it felt like weird. Like, wait a minute, is he explaining the past that just happened like 5 minutes ago or something? Or
but there's like this whole part where Mariko talks to the guy who has the detonation thing, and it's so fucking dumb. It's so dumb. It was like predictable as hell. She's like feeling around in his crotch area, and he's like, what the fuck? And then there's like a dialogue about where they're talking about his penis or whatever. And then, but really what she ends up doing is she tries to manipulate him by saying, like, I want to live, tell me the number. And he tells her the number, but actually she didn't have his best interest in mind. She ends up killing him.
She has this stupid freaking smug face, and, like, that is somebody's profile picture right there. I don't have the picture on me, but you can tell that's somebody's profile picture.
It in post. A lot of this will be up on the screen as we...
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know, this whole fucking, like, everyone versus Mariko thing, it's so just random. Like, just shit happens. Because, like, there's a part where, like, you know, we have that same scene I was talking about where Kurama and Mariko, they hug, and, you know, they're close together, and he's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to abandon you. And then she gets hit with a missile, but he doesn't. And
the missile doesn't even explode.
The missile doesn't even explode. It, like, lands on top of her, and then another missile comes down and hits him. But he's alive because she used her vectors to save him, even though she got hit with it first. And then she's alive because she used her vectors to save herself, and she starts meowing like New does. And it was so funny, like, because I saw it coming, I knew it was gonna happen. And then Salt, like, we got to that page, and Salt was like, "What are you laughing about?" And then
I was like, Gabe was asking me, "Hey, Salt, just guess what's gonna happen?" And I was like, "I don't know, man." Like, she goes gamer or something. And then she said, "Meow," and then I just slammed my desk like this. No, I am leaving. I am leaving.
It was so fucking dumb. Like, what doesn't make sense about this whole stretch is, like, she got hit first with a missile, and then he got hit second, but he was saved from her vectors. And she was also saved from her vectors, but when the missile hit her vectors didn't work anymore. So how does any of this make sense? How did this happen? Right? Like, she should be dead, so she can't use her vectors to save herself. What was even the point of these missiles? Why are the missiles even here in the first place if they didn't even work?
But it's just like, was there not enough force or something?
It's so fucking ridiculous. And you know, like, after that, then Kurama's, like, now seeing that she's gone cat mode, Kurama's like, never mind, she needs to die, and he tries to kill her, but then Nana's like, no, don't kill your daughter. But it's like this corny ass scene where she's like, no, don't kill, you're not a killer, even though you killed like a shit ton of babies, but that's, you know, whatever. And then, you remember Director Kakuzawa, the old man?
Yeah.
He didn't get much time to shine in the anime. We got a reveal that he had horns at the last episode, but that didn't go anywhere. And it never got a season 2, so a lot of people kept wondering what this guy's cooking, what's going on with him, why is he like this, what are we going to do about him? The manga, honestly, made him one of my favorite characters. Primarily just because of how funny he is. He's, like, cartoonishly evil. And
he has such funny faces. He's so unhinged.
So basically, we learn that he's got this plan where he intends to... He has the Diclonius virus in a missile. And we also learn about his daughter. We're going to talk about his daughter here in a minute. But he has a missile that's filled with the Diclonius virus, and he intends to release the virus out over the city. He's a Diclonius, so but he's a male Diclonius, so he doesn't have the vectors, he doesn't have the pink hair, but male Diclonius still have that, like, desire to kill. And he intends to take over the human race and let Diclonius prevail, but in order to do that, he needs Lucy. So he sends this fucking missile filled with the virus. It's going to explode, and then the missile's going to infect everybody, and then the Diclonius, you know, all their children will be Diclonius. It's a smart plan. The only issue is that he doesn't have Lucy in his possession, and he still sends the missile. Like, they're too late to stop it.
Yeah, and also, I can't remember the explanation why. Like, why was he killing his own kind again, only for this to be, like, the big reveal?
It's not really explained. I'm kind of just assuming that he was trying to gain the trust of the military in order to give him, like, work up the ladder, get to the top, and get the funding for this. Kind of like a necessary, like, sacrifice of, like, I just have to pretend I'm on their side long enough until I can get the resources I need. The only issue I have is that he sent out the missile exploded, and he didn't even have Lucy in his possession yet, which is an insanely irresponsible way to do this. Like, you should at least wait until you absolutely have her in your possession, otherwise you're just putting yourself in the fucking corner.
This felt too early to do, honestly.
Yeah, it was, and don't get me wrong, it was a good segment. I loved his like speech when he was telling the stinky glasses girl. I don't even know her name. I think it's like Arakawa or some shit.
Yeah.
He was telling her about this whole thing, and because she was also pretending like she was going along with this. And he was telling her this whole fucking virus plan, and it was honestly, it was a fun monologue. It was very unhinged. He felt very comically evil, and he's a very interesting character, to be honest. He's very much like seinen villain, but I don't know. It did feel like this came a little too early.
Yeah, there could have been like a more interesting plot, like the characters find out about the virus missile and it's still being under construction, but like they have to stop it like near the end of the series, and it's just like this is a little early to do this.
So I talked about Arakawa, but she's like one of there's another girl that wears glasses that's not Arakawa, who is also just a slab of concrete in terms of characterization. Her entire character is that Kurama dumps a bunch of exposition on her. You probably don't even remember her. But she had brown hair. She didn't have black hair like the stinky one.
I'm pretty sure she had brown hair in the anime, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. And so we also learned that she has she kind of prostitutes herself to director Kakuzawa.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
like
that one.
There's like a scene where he's like fingering her, and
we skipped it.
But she's basically like prostituting herself to him with the intention of stopping him, I guess. She's trying to get close to him and stop him by using her body or something like that. The detail, that's the thing, is like this anime or this manga presents a lot of ideas, but it never actually like gives them depth. And so that's kind of revealed randomly, and then she's present at the scene with the whole situation with Mariko, where Mariko is she killed the guy in charge of the cell phone thing, and now she's trying to deactivate the bomb. Niu and Koda, or Nana's at the scene, so Niu and Koda go after Nana, and they arrive at the scene, and Niu shows up. Niu, I think, hits her head. She turns into Lucy, and there's like a ton of issues in this whole fucking fight. But it's basically, yeah, like I said, everybody versus Mariko. Kurama is hoping to save Mariko, and it's kind of just this issue of like, whoever gets the phone wins. And I mean, there's a ton of nitpicks that we could say about this. I remember you said something about there was somebody holding an MP5.
Yeah, he was holding an MP. I mean, oh wait, no, that was Kurama doing that.
Yeah,
okay.
Kurama
holds an MP5 like a freaking pistol, even though you're supposed to hold it with both hands, and he just holds it like a pistol.
Mariko, now that she's lost her horns, is suddenly good now. She's developed this like second personality, kind of like Niu, and she's good now. She's switched sides. She's not a psychopath wanting to kill everybody anymore. And
it's just like, what the fuck?
I don't know.
Why is she...
It's so back and forth. It's like you're keeping up with so many different things, and the scene can barely contain all of it. It's kind of just falling apart. But yeah, it's basically now a fight to save Mariko rather than kill her. He's not good at writing fight scenes. We talked about how Kurama holds the MP5 wrong. That was a nitpick. There was also the fucking part earlier that I didn't write down, but that I want to mention. Before Mariko had lost her horns, when she tried to kill Nana, so there's like a page in which Nana's head is taken off, and then like it turns out no, she didn't actually take her head off because her horns aren't working. So it's like he's not good at conveying like stuff accurately. It's very needlessly confusing and hard to keep up with, and especially with this whole thing, it's like I don't care about Mariko. So, but now all of a sudden,
she was introduced like only a couple volumes ago. Like
she hasn't been in it very long at all. But yeah, now we have to save her, and now we're rooting for Kurama and the brown-haired glasses girl, who I couldn't even tell you what her fucking name is. And so now the fight is between Mariko and Lucy. They're fighting over the cell phone, and Lucy's trying to guarantee Mariko's death. I really don't know what Lucy's fighting for here, to be honest, aside from, I guess, she's trying to kill off Kurama's family. Just like Kurama killed off hers. But the thing is, like, at this point in the manga, that hadn't really been revealed yet. So a lot of the time, it's like she's just kind of being aimless. I kind of wish that the backstory with the girl had been revealed alongside the Coda backstory, rather than way, way later in the manga. And everybody's trying to sacrifice themselves. Every fucking 10 seconds, you got some person be like, no, I will do it. Like Kurama, like Nana, like trying to push everyone aside and just be like, I will be the self-sacrificing hero. I'll do it. Even Mariko, I think, does it. But the point where it's like it got most ridiculous was that the fucking glasses girl, she basically runs at Lucy, grabs the phone out of her hand, and then tries her best to throw it to Kurama and tells him the code, but then Lucy just destroys it and kills her. And it's kind of laughable how just completely pointless her whole existence as a character even is. She doesn't even successfully pull off the plan that she gave her fucking life to do. And this is like the closest thing to a meaningful moment she gets this entire fucking series. Up till now, she has been a slab of fucking concrete. She hasn't contributed anything to the story at all.
Okay, and wait, I also gotta mention this. Lucy is not as threatening in the manga compared to the anime. I don't know, like...
Yeah, the issue mainly boils down to she's just kind of obnoxiously evil in the manga versus in the anime where she's very quiet and misunderstood, supposedly.
Yeah, and also the art style just does not help.
And basically what this is leading up to is, now that Mariko's blown up, everybody leaves, and, like, Bondo's like, we need to get out of here. Bondo takes Nana, and they leave, and then it's just Kurama, and he shoots himself in the head. And it's like, this whole fucking scenario where we just drag out, like, a shit ton of, like, bullshit, like, with the missile, with Lucy coming in and fighting Mariko, the fight for the cell phone, where the glasses girl tries to save the day, but it doesn't work, and Mariko blows up. All of this, like, literally, this could have just ended with the missile.
Yeah, like, this all happens in one volume, and Kurama's death gets dragged for a whole volume.
Yeah, it stretched out for an entire fucking volume, and it just did not need to be. We added in a ton of this extra shit that meant nothing, bro. It was so dumb. And then, of course, the volume ends with a cliffhanger showing the embryo of a god that would be Kakuzawa's daughter, which is something we learn about in the next couple volumes, and it's another concept that I thought was really interesting. So in the next volume, it kind of starts off like a Big Bang Theory episode where it's like you're expecting you to apply, reintroduces all the characters, and reintroduces as well all of the obnoxious jokes that this series has spammed over and over again, where they like literally they tell so basically at this point, I think this is like a time skip, like a few months later, Niu has gained intelligence. She can speak now. And they start telling her in great detail the way that she used to act beforehand, where she used to grope everybody and she peed on the floor. And it's like, it wasn't funny the first time. And now they're like telling you again, just in case you forgot that it was the funniest fucking thing ever.
And also, I kind of noticed something about like this whole like, this kind of like slice of life segment. Nobody talks like this.
It's very, very unnatural dialogue. It's very ham-fisted and kind of just
I
lazy.
woke up today and I need to feel like I took a shit. Nana must have known I must have not liked taking a shit. Nobody talks like this!
So that's definitely part of it, is that the slice of life elements, it's like, I guess he thinks this is funny, and it's very much not. The comedy is very lazy. The comedy is very... I mean, a lot of it's just dependent on his own personal fetishes, but it it's super forced. It's super tacky. And it's just generic as hell. While we're seeing this like slice of life thing, you're also learning more about Director Kakuzawa and his daughter, who I guess is a fucking goddess. She's like a big blob where she's got uneven eyes, and
one points up vertically and the other one just points horizontally.
Yeah, and
God.
It's actually interesting. I actually was invested. Basically, he turned his daughter into a god, and you don't even get to know how, like what the process of turning her into a god even was. You just get to hear her point of view, where she's a naive young child who wanted to do her best, and she wanted to impress her father, so she goes through with the operation, but starts to have second thoughts, as she realizes this might be too much for me to bear. But she goes through with it anyway. And you don't even get to see the process. It's like actually subtle. It leaves it up.
Yeah,
it's like a cosmic horror element of like fear of the unknown.
Yeah. I actually was impressed by that a little. Oh, we're actually not seeing it. That's actually pretty good.
It's like leaving it up in the air. And I kind of wish there was more of that in this series, but the way things stand, it's a mess. Either way, so his daughter is basically the embryo of a god, but her body's so massive. I mean, she's just a fucking floating brain in a lake, and he can't comprehend the things that she comprehends, but she has glimpses of the future. She's able to comprehend the future, kind of. So director Kakuzawa, basically the way this series has run up until this point, if you haven't picked up on the structure, is Kakuzawa needs Lucy, so he sends someone to go find her. First it was Bondo, that didn't work. Then it was Nana, that didn't work. Then it was Mariko, that didn't work. So now he's sending two more people. The stinky glasses lady and a guy who literally does not even have a name. You're going to see why he doesn't have a name here in a minute, but he kind of looks like Alucard, and he's got these like electric shockwave spike balls that he shoots out of a gun.
Yeah, I have a crossbow, yeah. And as soon as I saw him, like, yeah, this man has just edged the character.
It's just completely like just Lin Okamoto's edgy OC.
Like, his whole posture is just edgy.
Basically, the way it's framed is they make a deal where they're both sent to go capture Lucy. Which it's also dumb. It's like you're going to send this hardened bounty hunter who's got the equipment to take on a fucking Diclonius with, like, clearly he's got, like, combat experience. And then you're also going to send a scientist lady who smells bad.
Oh my god, yeah.
And these are the two you're going to pin up against each other and be like, which one of you are going to find Lucy first?
It's just like, why are you relying on the girl that can't even take a shower?
And like, so basically they make a deal where he's like, well, if I find her first, you have to be my pleasure slave. And again, it's like this is completely pointless. This adds nothing to the whole thing. And then she's like, well, if I win, you have to cut your dick off. And so they agree to it. They shake hands and they're like, let's go get this bread, gamers. And they go out to go look for Lucy. So we go back to the slice of life elements from before. Fucking Bondo's upset that he can't jack off with his metal arm. And here's the thing, right? Like, we had a time skip for like 6 months. This guy has been on this fucking beach this entire time for 6 months, probably longer, getting all of the stuff off the beach so he could, once Lucy shows up again, like, he claims he's searching for Lucy. He's not searching for Lucy. He's been sitting on the fucking beach this whole time, and it's like, get off the beach, dude! And go out and look for her, you idiot!
I'm pretty sure the setting of this place is an island. Like, there's not that much to look, bro. It's not that hard to find.
So, essentially, like, the complex is that Mayu's been paying him regular visits, but she's been intentionally, like, keeping Lucy away from the beach, making sure she doesn't show up on the beach. During that whole battle of before, Lucy's horns have been gone. Like, she lost her horns as well, so she's basically stuck in this form. But they've been slowly growing back. Also, while we're on the topic of, like, reveals, Kurama's still fucking alive. Bondo has been taking care of him on the beach, and he's been in a tent. And I guess he's grown a beard, he doesn't look so good. He's kind of lost his mind. Like, the bullet didn't even kill him, it just fucked up his brain.
It's just like, I guess he just lost a part of his brain, and
now,
he's still alive.
There was a funny part that came up shortly after this, in which Salt, like, it showed this building, it showed the college building that Koda and them go to, and Salt was like, the stinky lady's about to show up, isn't she? And then she shows up, and we both burst out laughing, because it's like, bro, you could smell her through the pages. Like, holy shit.
Like, to be fair, it was the college building, and she works there, and I was like, oh, okay. Like, have you still not taken a shower? You've had all this time to. What the hell?
So, and again, it's just fetish shit. This way, they say it so fucking many times. It's like, I want to take a shower. I still hope I can find the time to take a shower. So when we and my friends covered the anime series, Pasta Man had a compliment for it, that being a consistency in the way that Koda handles his trauma. Whenever he completely forgot about what happened to his sister because his brain had filled in the dots with a lie. And the same thing happened again in the anime, and I think this one too, where he sees director Kakuzawa, the son, the younger one, he sees his severed head, and he doesn't tell Yuka.
Remember.
He doesn't tell Yuka about it because his brain immediately forgets it, and then he's like, "Nothing, I'm fine." And it was like a subtle little way of establishing that his amnesia, like his brain, protects him with amnesia. It seems like we forgot about that because he remembers what happened to in the manga. He remembers what happened to Kakuzawa pretty fucking well. He remembers him almost instantly. And then we get this whole thing where he and Arakawa run into each other, and she's like, "Oh shit, there you are." And they do this like MCU dialogue thing where they literally outright say, "I hope we won't run into that assistant," and then immediately run right into her. It's the most fucking MCU dialogue bullshit ever. She also uses the word hella later, which is really disorienting and strange, but I feel like a lot of this could just be the fault of translation. I don't know. This whole scene sucks. There's like a part where he just blatantly sexually harasses her as a diversion, or like, he essentially tells her that she has big boobs. Yeah, really fucking endearing dialogue. It's just so riveting. I'm losing my mind, bro. Anyway, he like sexually harasses her as like a diversion, as a distraction, to get the others to run away with Lucy. And she eventually like takes Niu hostage, and she's like, "Where is Lucy?" And it's like she's fucking holding her hostage right there, and they're like, "Huh?" And then she sees the fucking tiny little horns. We get a panty shot for no reason, because again, it's fucking Lin Okamoto, he's a freak. And yeah, it's so dumb. Like it's like an actually tense moment, a serious moment, and it's just treated like a joke where she's like, "I'm gonna take Lucy hostage," and then she finds out it's Lucy, and she's like, "She has to come home with me," and they're like, "No, that's not gonna happen." And it's like, I don't know, this is kind of a serious situation, right? Like, you're harboring a wanted criminal, and we're treating this like this big comical exchange. And it would be better if it was at least funny, but it's not funny.
Hey guys, I don't know if you can tell this. Len doesn't know how tone works.
We also become privy to the fact that she's apparently a virgin. I don't know why we needed to know that, but yeah, she's a virgin. Probably because she smells so fucking bad. So then we go back to the bounty hunter guy, or the fucking whatever. I don't even know his fucking name. We're just gonna call him Alucard, since Lin was so fucking lazy he didn't even give him a fucking name.
Alucard from Helsing.
That for real. But literally though, like, So they give him like a free Diclonius because, as we established, Diclonius, they have Saiyan powers where they can sense other Diclonius. And he's going to use her as like a GPS. And there's like this part where he's like, he basically rapes her, but it's like you don't see it, which is different. Up until now, you've had to see most of the bad shit, but this time you don't, which is
Len Komodo restraining himself. That's a new one.
Lin Okamoto, you flipping hecking.
Do you think
groiper.
Do you think I'd give a shit about this man that I want? Like, I mean, game end.
Like, okay, first of all, this guy not having a name, like I said, it's like, it just shows that Lin didn't even try with this character. He literally couldn't even give him a name. He just wanted to write the edgiest possible villain with no purpose outside of that. Like, he just wanted to make, and that's the whole thing. This guy is a murderous, crazed fucking
rapist.
freak. He's a freak. He's a fucking freak, okay? He's over here stroking his dick. Literally. Like, he like I said, he rapes the Diclonius that they give him, and then hooks her up to, like, some sort of fucked up briefcase torture device where I guess her spine is and in order to keep her from using her vectors, she's injected with pain whatever's like I don't know if it's like poison or what, or like shock or whatever, but it's like a torture device where she's in constant pain that does not stop, and he just carries her around like a fucking object. And it's like,
I guess that's representative of how Len sees women.
I mean,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna try not to take too many digs at Lin, but bro, it's hard because this is fucking
it's kind of hard. It's really hard not to make fun of him, honestly.
What I hate most about this is like, there are very few things in the series that actually did disturb me. A lot of the time I was laughing my ass off when people would get torn to shreds or whatever. And the lolly stuff, it made me uncomfortable, but I knew about it going in because I watched this when I was like 13. But like, this part actually did just make me just blatantly uncomfortable, and it was like just edgy as fuck. Where it's like, honestly, you could have come up with literally any other thing, but he just has this Diclonius that gets, and you don't know anything about the woman. You just know that she gets tortured and used as a fucking GPS. And she brings him to Nana. He shows up at the Kaide house, and there he is with Nana, and he gets angry. He kicks the fucking GPS woman and kills her, essentially. So now he doesn't have her in his pocket. But on top of all of that, like, you're also they let you know, he did rape her. He proudly proclaims that he raped her before all of this torture shit happened. And I don't know, it's just like, that's a little edgy, dog.
Oh my, okay, yeah, that actually freaking reminds me how this man works. He has to explain everything he does in excruciating detail, like everything. And I think that kind of adds to like what Len wanting him to be like the edgiest character possible.
And there's some good ideas here. I love the fucking crossbow he has with the electric spike balls, but the fucking over-explaining, dude. Like, I know this happens a lot in anime, but it's like he proudly announces to you just how much of a rapist he is, and it really does just feel like, hate this guy. Do you hate this guy yet? Do you hate him? Do you hate this guy? Like, he's just
I already hated him the first instant he showed up on screen. You don't need me to make him hate.
It's more accurate to say, like, you can put like you can have an irredeemable villain who is just literally like a shallow, like, just mindlessly evil guy who loves, he masturbates to genocide or whatever. You can have that. It's just like, it's more irritating that Lin feels the need to repeatedly, obnoxiously just be like, but just in case you forgot, this guy really sucks. Just in case you forgot, here's how I'm going to tell you in great detail how much this guy sucks, so you don't forget. And it's just, I don't know, it's that lack of confidence in his writing where he feels the need to explain everything to you that makes this such a pain to read. And so he comes in, he fights Nana, his shock thing, it has like a poison thing in it. Like, if you get hit with it, the poison slowly takes effect and it weakens you. So he weakens Nana with it, and then he kicks Mayu's dog. So there's more dog, like, edgy, like, I don't know what it is with Lin and fucking dog abuse, but that seems to be one of his go-to tricks for
It's just a really easy way to make you hate a guy again. It's just like, we already hated him, stop this.
And it's the reason, it's another, like, it's an easy way to make you feel sorry for Lucy, is that, oh, her dog died. I love dogs. Dogs are so cute. How could they do this? Like, I don't know. It's such a cartoony-ass way to make a fucking villain. And then we skipped this part, because, again, I hate this manga, but he tries to rape Mayu.
And we skipped that whole segment because I don't want to watch it. Now let's get on to the good part.
So, back in the anime, and this never got the payoff that it was implemented for. We remember when Bondo was upset that Mayu saved him because he didn't like owing her favors, so he says, hey, whenever someone's giving you trouble, call me and I'll come save you. This is what that was for. That was like setting up for this. So he comes in, and as the guy's about to fucking go on a private flight, he comes in, he kicks him, calls him a pedo. He's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And, you know, just based Bondo, just being based.
He kicked him through the door, and it's so awesome. I love Bondo.
Fucking goated, bro. And what's so fucking cool, I mean, we get yet another rundown of these fucking horns, because Bondo didn't hear the spiel, so we have to hear the guy explain how the fucking, not horns, fucking spike balls work. We have to get this whole spiel about that shit again, like we didn't get it the first time. But what happens is he shoots Bondo with it. Bondo's like, and then it looks like he's about to continue what he was doing, but then Bondo rips it out with his bare hands, and then rears back and throws it at him like a fucking baseball.
You want to know what would have been made this better? Like, he throws the ball at his dick. That would have been so much better.
That would have been the best, actually. And the guy gets hit with his own fucking, basically gets a taste of his own medicine, and then he runs away. And then Bondo saved the day. He's my goat. He's the best fucking part of this manga. I am noticing, like, we've said that the action scenes in this series suck, but not with Bondo. With Bondo, it's like Lin actually took the effort of trying to come up with something really, really cool. And so Bondo gets to do all the fucking badass shit, while everybody else, it's so lame.
I'm just now realizing, the weaker you are, and if you're actually capable of fighting, the better fight scene you're gonna have.
Now, I typically don't skip things when I review it. I try to consume all of it as elegantly as I can. We did get a couple of Nozomi backstory chapters. They were like extra chapters, and we skipped them because I don't care. Nozomi wears diapers and sings a lot, and the manga would not be any different without her. So we skipped that because I'm not actually interested in even bothering with them. You can understand the manga without reading them. They add nothing to the narrative, so we're just telling you now, we skipped that part, so we're gonna jump to the next volume. And so the weirdest part about that is that was like literally like smack dab in the middle of the Bondo fight. Like, because the fight's not over, right? Like, it just stops for a little bit, and then we get this like random ass backstory for Nozomi, and then we go back to the Bondo fight.
It's just like, what the fuck?
So apparently he finally runs into New. He gets angry at Mayu. He's like, you have been keeping this secret from me? I never want to talk to you again. And we're like supposed to care. But anyway, Lucy, her horns at this point have grown back, and she's no longer mentally impaired. She's back to the Lucy that we know. I mean, she's still mentally impaired, but I mean, you know. And again, like with the fucking dialogue heavy bullshit, like Bondo goes on a speech about how I've been waiting for this day. I've been waiting a long time. It's like, bro, we know why you hate Lucy, okay? We hate Lucy, bro. Like, you don't have to give us this whole spiel again. I remember there was this part where I think they're like, call the police. And then Bondo's like, I am the police. And it literally just made me think of the fucking part from Star Wars. He's like, I am the Senate.
Not yet.
What?
Oh wait, and then I was doing a.
I don't have anything good to say about this volume either, except for Coda getting the shit beat out of him by Bondo. He's like trying to stop him. He's like, no, don't fight Lucy, because Lucy's like, all right, you want to fight? Let's fight. I'll meet you over here on this part of the beach. And then Bondo's like ready, but they're all trying to stop him. Nana's trying to stop him. Mayu's trying to stop him. Coda's trying to stop him, but he fucking beats the shit out of Coda and just knocks him onto the fucking ground. And it's like, let's go. This is the best character, bro. He is the best. And I mean, it's just forced. It's like very, very forced drama. Nana's like angry at herself and starts hitting her head. Like
okay. Also, I gotta explain this as well. Like, well, during the fight, Lucy like can't reach Bondo because it's 2 meters and her vectors have 2 meters, but she just stands still in the same place the entire time. Just like, move forward, dipshit!
So as we had established, Bondo and her fight on the beach. He basically goes on and on, jerking off about how he stayed on this beach, got rid of everything on the beach, all the debris and all this extra shit, so that he could finally see this day again, where he could fight Lucy one more time. And honestly, again, it's pretty sick, because he's like coming at her, and, you know, really fighting her, and she's like using her invisible hands, but he's fucking dodging it, and I mean, it's bullshit, because it's like, how the fuck, this is so dumb, but he's dodging her invisible hands. He's just him. He's him. Bondo is him. He gets the better of her. I think he like blinds her. I don't know if he got like dirt in her eyes.
Flashbang.
Yeah, he used a fucking flashbang, right, and blinded her so that he could finally kill her. And, you know, right as he's about to get his moment of glory, Mayu steps in, and we get yet another fucking scene, like the fucking one with Nana and Kurama we had, like, not last volume, volume 7, where it's like, Bondo, you're not a killer, don't do this. It's like, bro, he has killed people, bro. Like, he is a killer. Don't fucking do this.
He is a mercenary, bro.
Let him cook. And it's like, I think part of it is like, this is supposed to be a climactic battle. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. Finally, Bondo getting his revenge against Lucy. And this fight gets interrupted like 7 times. When it's not Mayu, it's like Coda. When it's like not Coda, it's Nana, or it's, you know, more monologue of Bondo being like, oh yeah, I'm so ready to kill you, bro. I'm so ready. Let's do this. And, you know, it's like,
just get on with the fight.
There's also this part where the pedophile guy comes back, and he's like, no, don't kill Lucy. She's the goddess of the new generation. Lucy, I will be your eyes. I will assist you. And she does the most based thing ever. Immediately is like, I am not affiliated with you, and kills him.
Rips his head off and throws the head at Bondo.
So, yeah, and that's probably the most based thing Lucy's done all manga. Either way, she gets her eyesight back. It's time for round 3, I guess. And then it's like framed in a way where, you know, she's finally ready, and then Mayu is like, no, and then it looks like she kills Mayu. Like, you just see her standing in front of Mayu, and then you see the blood, and we were like, oh, did Mayu just die? That's pretty fucked up.
Can I rant about this, please?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, and then next chapter, nope, it wasn't Mayu. It was Bondo. Like,
yeah.
he saves Mayu last second. It's just, no. This is the thing Len does. He always does like fake deaths at the end of a chapter. It's just like, stop. You've done this like what, 3 times now?
Yeah, he's very over reliant on that trick. But no, it's Bondo. And then we finally get to see Bondo's backstory. It wasn't much of one. We kind of brush over like, yeah, I was raised to be a soldier, and I wanted to kill.
I'm pretty sure like a lower part of his spine got cut off, and you see his guts too. It's like, how is he still alive?
And then fucking, it's so funny. It's like the most unintentionally it's the most unintentionally funny death scene because he's like yelling at like he's still being Bondo essentially, like yelling at her like fuck off bitch, and he's just being really fucking goofy.
God.
Mayu fucking kisses him on the lips.
And Len ruined the best character's death scene. He ruined it.
We gotta find this man. I just want to talk.
Yeah, I just want to talk, man.
I just want to have a chat. I just want to speak.
I just ignore the baseball bat with the spikes on it and the shotgun. Just ignore that.
Ignore the crossbow with spike balls that shoot poison. And it's like after this chapter, after we get this, like first and foremost, like even if, and I know that Bondo did not consent to the kiss and he didn't kiss her back. In fact, he was like, "What the fuck?" This is still not okay to include because it's like you're now expecting us to have some sort of shipped relationship with like Bondo and Mayu, and this is not okay. Like this is still, and the main reason is because this completely not only ruins Bondo's character, it ruins Mayu's, because the entire point of her character was that she was a victim of sexual assault, and it was commentary on pedophilia bad. He just called that guy a pedophile like a few chapters ago, right? Like he was just condemning that guy for being a pedophile. Clearly Lin does not like pedophiles. Shipping a relationship between these two characters contradicts that altogether. This is like the worst possible thing you could do to Mayu as a character. Aside from the fan service scenes that include her, this is a step worse because you're having her develop an affection for an adult man, and you're basically showing that I mean, it's literally that meme. You remember that fucking meme?
I don't want to remember that meme. No.
Oh God. So then we get this corny ass part afterwards where she's on the beach now, and she keeps cleaning up the beach in memory of Bondo. Like, shut the fuck up. So then we move on to, again, I said that the structure of this manga is repetitive as hell, because it's always them sending someone, the person fails in their endeavors because Lucy's too strong. The next person that they send, there's like this femboy who has a collection of spines, and I guess he's another scientist guy who he has a collection, like he's making homunculi, which are all just Mariko revived, essentially, like a bunch of little Marikos. And this, go ahead.
And they're all stupid. They're all just stupid.
This fucking... Okay, so Kakuzawa's like, I need results. I need you to get me Lucy. I need something that will give me results. Will these Marikos listen to you? And he's like, yes, they will. And he has one of them stab herself, which was unnecessary. And then Director Kakuzawa's like, well, that's no big deal. And he fucking shoots himself in the hand for no reason. And then he's like, okay, fine. Really? And has one of them. Really? And it's like, I get that he's trying to go for like an actually dark, like unsettling scene. But this entire scene was dumb. Like, aside from how over the top and unnecessary a lot of it was, like Kakuzawa did not need to shoot himself in the fucking hand for no reason.
What does this prove?
But also, there's like this whole section of this scene where we're supposed to be taking it seriously. It's supposed to be a big thing, but he comes into the chamber and the Marikos tackle him, take his fucking candy, and start eating it. That's another thing. He's got a quirk where he's like obsessed with candy. He eats candy all the time. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but whatever. I hate this manga, dude.
Okay, I gotta explain this. Like, I was worn out reading this volume. I was tired. I almost passed out. Okay, like, I didn't want to be here after a moment, and that usually doesn't happen. That I usually can deal with bad stuff. But this, no. It's so bad.
So yeah, there's that. We go back to Arakawa, who at this point does not know that Alucard is dead. So she's like naked because she's genuinely worried she's gonna lose. She's naked in her office, looking at her body, and then feeling ashamed. She's like, "I could never be a pleasure slave." And it's like, dude, this happens right after that grim scene where the fucking girl, like, there's like, in order to prove her dedication to the blonde twink character. And then we just move to like a funny moment where Arakawa is feeling insecure about her body. That just came out of fucking nowhere, because
That's funny.
This series loves giving us whiplash. It's insane. And then Kota comes to talk to her about, like, why do they need Lucy? Like, I think he can't find Lucy. Like, he hasn't been able to find her since the fight or something. So he comes to ask Arakawa for clues. And this whole conversation is boring as hell. She, like, sees him. She tries to grab him by sitting on his face, which was unnecessary.
Like what? Like,
and he tells her that the pedo guy, he's dead. And then we see a glimpse of him in heaven, like with a halo, like a little halo thing.
Yeah, no, that bitch is going to hell.
That man is not in heaven, bro.
That man is going to the deepest layer of hell.
He's going to the 9th layer of hell, bro. He is going to the 11th layer of hell. We're making an 11th just to put him there, bro.
We're not even putting him in the 10th one we made up. He's going to the 11th.
He's going to the 19th, bro. I don't give a fuck. I will invent 200 just to put him at the bottom. That man's going below fucking Blight Town. That man's going to the fucking demon ruins. With the dragon butts everything.
He's going to Lost Izalith.
Yeah. So we introduced Bondo 3.0. This, like, you know, we had Bondo, then we had Bondo 2.0, the pedophile guy, and now we have Bondo 3.0, another femboy who wears sunglasses. He looks the exact same as the other one, but with sunglasses. And he's introduced, and basically Kakuzawa's like, hey, kill Lucy, or don't kill Lucy, but grab Lucy, kill everybody else. So he's like, fine, we'll do that. While that's going on, Mayu and Nana find Lucy, or they find Niu, I guess, and then it becomes this whole thing about how Nana is now Niu's biggest hater, and she's so ready to kill her, which is so funny, because it's like literally 2 volumes ago, she was like, no, don't kill. You shouldn't kill. You mustn't. And now she is like, I don't give a fuck if Niu is a nice person. Okay, she's gotta die. I'm gonna kill her. And there's like this whole like forced drama where Niu is standing right there and she hears everything she says and then runs away and cries. I don't know. Like, I want to point out that every single session of us reading this, you have fallen asleep.
Yes, exactly. Like, I don't do that. Like, usually if something's bad, like, I'm like a little interested to see where it goes. I am being actively tortured reading this.
It's just that it's like, it's hitting the point where it's like, he doesn't know what to do with this anymore, or like how to maintain drama conflicts. How many times are we going to get Nana versus Lucy? How many times are we going to get even more boring slice of life where Nana's feeling guilty with terrible dialogue? Like, how many times are we going to run through this shit over and over and over again?
I'm kind of glad that the anime, not even just because this part's terrible, I'm kind of glad that the anime ended where it did. It's just because that felt like an ending.
Yeah, it felt like an abrupt ending, but it felt like an ending. Like, it felt like they were trying to make it feel complete, or as complete as they possibly could.
Yeah, and it's extremely open-ended. Like, and I do believe in this. Like, I feel like there is like a little, like, a story should be kind of open-ended and like, like a lot of room to breathe for like a second season, but it also
leave you
feels
with
like
something to say about it at least.
Yeah.
And then, while we're on the fucking topic of tonal fucking whiplash, this like slice of life segment I was talking about where Nana comes back home and the drama subsides, Nozomi starts yapping about how she's not wearing diapers anymore, and it's like supposed to be meaningful, but it's like you're casually talking about how she used to wear diapers.
Like, I'm not taking this seriously.
I hate this fucking manga, bro.
I think this is the worst volume out. Like, I hated, like, I was worn down reading this.
Oh, you were like groaning in pain. luckily though, it ended on a very, very funny note.
They get raided by the Feds.
The femboys find them very, very fast. And the whole house just gets kicked in, and these feds come in with guns, and it is hilarious. It's amazing. When the feds break into the house, I'll say this chapter was great because they beat the shit out of Kota and Yuka, and Nana goes gamer mode and locks the flippin' heck in and fights the feds dudes.
Yeah, and then dang it, what else happened? Fucking.
I mean, it's literally just like the femboys and their fucking soldiers versus Nana and
Mariko clones.
Oh yeah, they've got Mariko clones with them too, and they're fighting Nana and Lucy.
Yeah, and then freaking
So there's like one thing that we wrote down while we were reading this, which is you've repeatedly said this is like so hard to take seriously, like it's not intimidating at all.
Yeah.
Some of the screaming text, like whenever someone starts screaming, it looks like those fucking what are those things called when you're like, it's like prove you're not a robot by typing in the words.
Yeah, it does look like that. Like
that's what this is. We've said it like a trillion different ways. This is the ugliest manga I've ever read. I hate everything about it. So basically, like, yeah, it's Nana and Lucy fighting the fucking soldier dudes. Nana gets her ass beat. She has gotten like the fuck beaten out of her like this entire manga.
Not even physically, just mentally as well.
She's probably the most like suffered the most of this entire story.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny though, because one of the guys holds her head without her limbs like a rag doll, and she's just, like holds her up and she's just a fucking floating rag doll.
It's like playing with the physics gun in Gmod.
Shoutouts to Wanta, Mayu's dog. Best character. He also jumps in and attacks the feds, and then Kota steals a gun. And then he gets shot, and I don't know why he thought they've all got like submachine guns, and he's got just like a stupid ass like. He's also surrounded. I don't know why he thought any of this would work.
Yeah. Freaking like, and then when the dog gets hurt, Mayu just does the Walter shock face.
The fucking Pikachu. Yeah. This is all supposed to be like a tense moment. Like you're supposed to be worried that they're all gonna die, but it's like really fucking. I think partly because like this is like how many times has like dog abuse happened in this? It's not really shocking anymore. Like this dog is not
shocking. Don't get hit bad. Cry now.
It's happened so many times that it's funny now. If I saw that damn thing in my living room, I would stomp on it until it was a small brown
Honestly, I'm gonna be real. If the dog died, I wouldn't care.
Me when a dog dies.
Like, because usually the case is, oh, you don't want the dog, you don't want the dog to die. I kind of want the dog to die.
So this is kind of the point where Kota, like, pretty much after the situation de-escalates and Lucy comes out and starts saving them, which she gets, like, fucking bunny ear horns. Like, there's these ugly-ass, like, giant horns that are, like, a foot long.
She's supposed to look intimidating, but she does not.
I don't know why we're just now going into how the horns and vectors work and how they're correlated. It doesn't make any fucking sense, like, why it had to take this fucking long to get into this. Which they don't really talk about. I mean, they barely talk about it after this, so this is kind of the only space we get to explain the actual genetics of how it works and how the hands and the horns and all that shit. Also, this is the point where the twist that Lucy killed Kota's family happens. But By this point, because the manga had already, you can already put like 2 and 2 together. By this point, it just doesn't work as much as it did in the anime because it's so predictable. It was predictable in the anime, but it's like worse in the manga.
Yeah.
And Koda just figures it out, and then for the rest of the manga, he just hates Lucy. Which that is one thing the manga...
I mean, I would also just hate Lucy as well.
No, yeah, I mean, she sucks, but that is one thing that the manga has over the anime is that Koda actually hates her because of what she did. Whereas in the anime, he like kisses her and then hugs her and says like, no, it's fine. I mean, I can't forgive you, but it's fine.
Oh my god, killing my family members is so hot.
Can you do it again? Can you give me a new family and then kill them in front of me? Lucy becomes black for a few seconds and then she starts destroying helicopters.
With her fucking vectors, and it's so stupid.
She fucking grabs one of the helicopters and like slams it into the fucking femboy guy. And then the Mariko experiments try to stop it and save him. Which, by the way, they're wearing jumpsuits, which was something I had actually suggested in a previous video where I was like, why do they have to be naked? They should just be wearing jumpsuits. So that's great.
Yeah, I mean, like, it would also be, like, weird to bring them out in public naked, but...
Well, yeah, true. But still, like, it's anytime he sees an opportunity, it's like he always has to draw them naked. So...
I have no idea why.
Bare minimum, but at least we're doing something else. Anyway, so they're like, so he's about to get crushed by the helicopter, and the 2 Mariko girls, they like hold it up and they're trying to stop it. How'd you feel about this part? It was okay. It was actually like pretty tense. I will not lie. Lucy's like being just evil as she is, and like these Mariko clones are actually like. They actually try and like save this femboy, even though the femboy just told them to stop and go away. Yeah, like the thing,
they are dedicated.
They've got this thing in their forehead that like if he barks orders at them, they do it, but it's kind of weird. They don't follow every order, and they really care about him, so they don't want him to die. So they're refusing to listen to him when he's begging them to just let him die and run for their lives. And Lucy feels effectively evil for this whole part, which I thought was pretty good. But then they ruin it by telling you why this is good, actually, because he goes into great detail about, like, I already understood this, but then he starts telling you, like, they love me even though I was cruel to them. It's like Lin cannot, like, he thinks that you won't get it, so he has to explain it to you every single
What is
scene.
visual storytelling?
Like, what is subtlety? I don't know the definition of that word.
The Mariko clones, like, she sacrifices herself to be with the femboy, whatever.
I don't give a fuck about his name. It's okay.
And like because they really care about her, so she just jumps into the helicopter just so that she can die with the femboy or whatever.
And then Lucy's like, "That was lame."
She actually does say that. She actually just states that is lame.
Great dialogue. And then like a homeless man who turns out to be Kurama appears out of fucking nowhere, like, hello chat. And
then he also says, "Are you tourist? Are you a tourist?
Are you a tourist? But
are you a tourist? You look like a tourist.
Do you have cash?" No, he starts crying over the fucking Mariko clothes. And then
even though it's just a dead body.
And then she says, she calls him daddy.
Do I look like...
Once this happens, basically the femboy, he gets away, but he's, like, severely injured. They carry him out of there. They captured Lucy. And then Lucy, while she's being captured, she remembers another person she met after she killed Koda's family. This other girl that we saw in the anime, but we didn't see much of it. We only saw the conclusion of the backstory. We did not see all of the build-up leading to it. Either way, she meets this girl. And I liked this whole part, honestly.
Yeah.
To a point. It like started really good, and we were both like, "Hey, this is nice actually." Like, it's not fucking dark and edgy for once. Where it's like her spending time with the girl and going to the park with her every day, and then learning about how she wants to be an artist like her mom. And then she invites her to her house, and
it's got to go back to edgy shit where like, oh, she actually has an abusive father.
It was
oh,
the
no.
second he fucking showed up, I was like, no, come on, man. Like, come on. Just let us have like one good thing for once.
Okay, this is when I noticed. I think it was later when I noticed it, but like Len, like he doesn't let the story breathe. It's always just constant, like awful crap that it's just numbing. It's numbing.
I'm saying this as a Berserk fan. This series overdoes it with the torture porn. Like, fucking, and I'm literally like, that seems like a hypocritical statement to say as a Berserk fan, but it's like, where's my bonfire of dreams? Where's like, you know, the fucking, that part where they're on a ship and Guts is like chilling in the fucking window and it's like beautiful outside. Like, even a story as like aggressively dark as Berserk knows that like you need to take a break from it sometimes. Even Made in Abyss gets this right. How does Made in Abyss get this right?
I think like a very good example of like in Berserk, like I think it was like they took a castle, they sieged a castle, it was like really bloody, but then you just see them afterwards just kind of like hanging out and saying, oh, Guts, you're actually pretty cool, man.
And it's
you're
not
actually
like
pretty great.
It's not like Elfen Lied doesn't have like slower moments. The problem a lot of the time though is that he, you know, I mean, he interjects his fetishes into the dark shit, whatever, and then he interjects it into the wholesome shit, so that gets ruined too. So it's like we never really get a moment where we're not just completely disturbed or grossed out by this manga, and you kind of like the fact that even like in Made in Abyss where there's like good moments in that's insane to me. Because Made in Abyss is actually more vile than this. Besides,
like, one scene in the first episodes, the first, like, 3 episodes of Made in Abyss are pretty chill. They're pretty chill.
So I just don't understand, like, the appeal of this manga. I think this is, like, so obnoxiously edgy all the time, and it's just exhausting to read. Like, when we were reading this, we felt like we were dying.
No. I like actually fell asleep like 2 times during this.
Either way, Lucy throws the abusive dad into the ceiling while the mom makes like the funniest fucking face ever. And then they run away. Or well, no, she runs away because like, you know, you invited your friend over, and then suddenly the dad gets launched up into the fucking air through some mysterious means. And then it turns out, as Lucy goes away and then meets with the girl again, turns out the girl killed her dad.
By accident. By complete accident.
And it happened off camera. Like, she made him cut himself, I guess? I don't know. But, like, he didn't convey it. What happened? I don't even remember.
Oh my god. I think it was like nowhere near the neck. I think it was like nowhere near the neck. But like it still cut him somehow. I don't know.
It happens off screen. So like we don't really see it. I guess points for some kind of subtlety. I just don't really get the point. I feel like the dad, not only does it feel forced and just kind of shoehorned in, it also just kind of ruins this backstory dynamic, because I already knew it was going to conclude with the girl dying.
Like, that's, it was dark enough. Very obvious.
That's dark enough as is. You could have just had her finally have like a good time with someone without fucking abuse being shoehorned into the narrative yet again. And then it could have just ended with her dying, and that would have been 1,000,000 times more effective than just more of this.
Yeah, like, why not just like, oh, Lucy found somebody that thinks she's cool and they get along, but then the feds come in and then just kill her.
And it sucks.
Why not
like,
that?
There's like this really good part where like Lucy pretends to be a witch, only for her to die, but it's like ruined because like again the dark tone of her fucking abusive father just completely like I've already lost interest. And the dialogue is fucking horrible. Like she just starts like complaining like I'm never gonna be happy because Lin is a repetitive ass writer. He just keeps defaulting onto the same tricks again and again.
Like freaking like faking out a death or something.
Oh my god, we got some complaints about that like later on. I'll say by this point of the manga it still looks horrendous, but it looks better than like the earlier chapters. And the manga panels are, at least in terms of structure, they're a lot less lazy. He's actually doing something with the pages now, and it's not just box, 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 box. So that's a plus. He's getting better at drawing. You can kind of see it already.
Oh my god. Well, what else happens?
Well, so basically they hide out in a museum, and Lucy starts showing off her vector ability, and the girl is like, wow, it's like magic. This is really cool, which, you know, since she's been like chastised for it her whole life, I actually thought that was a good scene too. I thought it was cute that, you know, she's like, it's like showing off magic to your friend. And then Kurama finally hunts down Lucy, and they shoot the girl, and then they take Lucy in and then lock her up, which leads to the events of the very beginning when she broke out of prison. And basically Kurama breaks the news to her that, hey, we tried to save the girl, but she's dead. And so that's...
Your friend is dead.
That's why Lucy, for the rest of the series, her goal becomes to kill everyone close to Kurama.
And she gets to do it over and over again, actually.
It's just a little too word salad in the manga. I liked this part a lot better in the anime, even though I really think this whole thing was better in the anime because they cut right to the chase of just the moment with her, the girl, showing her abilities, and then the girl dying, and then Kurama breaking the news to her. It's so much better in the anime just because of how much less bullshit there is. Like, it cuts out the abusive father and all of that. So, you know, you can make the contention that, like, because when we watched the anime, we said that, who is this girl? Like, we don't even have much context beyond just she knew Lucy and was nice to her. That's really all we needed, apparently, because when we find out more context in the manga, we regret it immediately.
Yeah.
I wrote, in my notes, Koda's mother meets the Grahams, which is the name of the Kendrick Drake diss. So I don't know what I was talking about here. But there is basically Nana starts getting discriminated against because of her horns, and it's just really fucking exhausting.
It's stupid. It's like Nana is like the little scrunkly character, and then it's freaking revealed that somehow the femboy twink character in the Kurama clone survived getting crushed by a helicopter.
Yeah, like, oh my god, he's in one of the other rooms. While we're having this Nana drama where, like, people are like, oh, you got horns, you're a freak. And then she starts crying and says, this time I'm really gonna do it.
I gotta mention this as well. The femboy character just has, like, a cast on his leg. That's it.
Yeah.
Are you sure that's the only thing injured? Are you sure?
He ain't getting no sloppy. So, yeah, he, like, somehow lived through all of this shit. The only character that's died has been the best character. So I that's like one issue that comes up a lot is that fucking, and it's gonna keep happening where like, oh, this guy's dead. No, he's not. Back to Nana though, because like it cuts back and forth between the blonde twink and Nana. Because like the blonde twink, he's like talking to the Mariko girls and trying to see how they like He's basically like, okay, you guys saved my life even though it was cruel to you. And he's wondering if that really was their free will or if it was just the thing put in their head. And while that's happening, Nana
tries and goes and finds Karama, and it turns out that he's on the beach that like Bondo left him there.
That part was so bad.
That
oh
part
my
was
God.
so it was like a kid just in his room, he wanted nobody else in his room. It was so fucking funny.
He's like, he's lost his mind. He's like Nana's like, Papa, and he's like, you're not my daughter. This is my daughter. And it's one of the Mariko clones, but I think it's one of the dead ones. I think he like collected one of the corpses and took it to his tent to fucking cry over.
I know it smells awful in there.
Or no, I think it was alive. But either way, like, it's so fucking funny. And it's like, I just wish by now that Kurama had just died, because in the anime he did. And it was one of the most fantastic parts of the anime. It was actually like really good in the anime. And I'm not even saying that as like, oh, well, this is just mediocre and everything else is bad in comparison. No, it was actually like really good in the anime. I wish it was in a better anime.
Yeah, and I also got to mention this. He kind of looks like Seto Kaiba.
So Nana, she begins to go gamer mode, sexual style.
Just kidding. Actually, she just kidnaps Karama because Len just can't like go with an idea for some reason.
So fucking funny. Like, Nana is like the funniest character. Honestly, probably best girl.
I think
manga.
She's the best character.
She got
next to
done
Bondo.
dirty. She got done so dirty, but she's such a funny
like
character.
I was so mad at, like, are you really gonna turn the scrunkly character evil now? Are you serious?
So to reiterate my complaint about the fucking text font that I said looked like shit when they were like laughing or screaming, sometimes it'll just cut to this weird cursive font that made it hard as hell to read what it was saying because the text was so small. Like my pee-pee, my pecker, my tic tac,
A little woodpecker.
and that's just that continues to happen. And it's also he's really bad at, like, he'll put like text that is the same color as the background, so it just blends right in with the background. You can barely read it. It's bad. Either way, we learn that the director, the old man, the creepy guy, he's got horns. This time it's revealed much better because, like, in the anime, it's at the very, very end, and he just pulls it off and shows Arakawa, and then she faints, and we never address it for the rest of the fucking anime. But in the manga, it's revealed. It's much more subtle, surprisingly, because that's one of the fucking things this manga does. It's never subtle. But you don't even really get to see it. He reveals it to Lucy because he's captured Lucy, and he gets this vague monologue, and then you kind of just see the back of his head, but you don't really get to see them per se. Which this part is like the most angry this manga's made me, because this guy is such a good villain. He's like such a cool villain, and then they completely crap all over his fucking character.
Yeah, so basically what he is that he's a descendant of, like, basically Japanese mythological creatures that have just been shunned for a long while. And, like, that's interesting.
That was a good-ass idea. It's not true. They say it's not true later on, but that was a good-ass idea. And so his goal is he wants to be the leader of the Diclonius, lead them into as like the dominant race, and he wants to be on top of it all. And like I don't even care that he's like talking a lot and monologuing, because oh my god, this guy is fucking funny to watch. Like, he's unhinged.
It's great. It's actually, like, this is the one time where I think Mucho Texto actually benefits it, because he's great to listen to.
Oh, I was like reading every word just ecstatic. Like, this is what I mean when I say we need more villains that are just comically evil. like that are just evil for, because too many villains they're trying to be like Lucy, where it's like they're evil but they've got good reasons and there's good in them. It's like, no, this guy's just fucking evil. He wants to destroy all of humanity and create a race of his own. we also have a note here that says Diclonius are demons made by radiation. And I mentally read that in the Alex Jones voice. It's like, they're demons!
Diclonius are demons made by radiation!
They're demons, I tell you! Either way, back to the twink guy that has the cast on his leg.
So basically, like,
he pulls out like a blade out of this thing. And my brain, because I'm fucking internet poisoned, I just immediately was just like, well, you went to prom. I studied the blade.
Fuck you, Catherine. Prom probably sucked anyway. I was too busy grinding the blade.
But anyway, he makes a self-sacrifice by testing out what would happen if he gave his experiments free will. I think he uses the blade to pop the little thing out of her head to see if...
wasn't that section also like really, really, really mucho texto?
It was, but like I think there is kind of an interesting dynamic here, because it's like a question of free will. Like, is the empathy that I gave them, is it really free will, or is it just something I'm imposing onto them, and how it kind of studies the ethics of that? I don't know. Have you seen Clockwork Orange?
No.
Well, it does that a lot better, because it's about a psychopath that becomes basically a victim. And I'm going to show you that movie at some point, but it's kind of that idea of like, is it ethical to force empathy onto something that cannot express it?
Yeah.
And it turns out we get an overt answer, which I sort of take issue with. I kind of wish that it had stayed open-ended, but like, honestly, I would not... Honestly, like, if this were me writing, and this is just me saying, I would have him take it off, and then I would never show him or the Diclonius again for the rest of the manga. They would, like... I would leave people questioning, like, what happened, but Lin Okamoto didn't do that.
Yeah.
It turns out that
I would also kind of give, like, hints of what happened, kind of make it, like, obvious. Well, not obvious, but kind of like
subtle, like leave clues to leave people speculating.
Yeah.
And that would be the end of his character arc. Just that like open-ended question. I think that would be a lot more interesting. But no, it turns out that his decision to take the thing out of her head was bad, and she kills him. But we get this super unsubtle buildup where he questions if he should take her to a theme park or something just to make you feel bad, when it inevitably crashes and burns. And she kills him. Because why the fuck not?
And great. I just remembered this part. Yuka kisses Koda again, the worst character ever, and
because why the fuck not?
Kills myself. I hate her. I hate her. I actually no. I say this. Mew is beyond annoying, but I would rather listen to Mew for like on a YouTube compilation that's 10 hours more than ever watch a single second of Yuka again.
I don't even get why Yuka's here, other than to be annoying.
Incest.
So it's cutting back and forth between like the fucking drama dynamic of Yuka and Koda and the Diclonius woman, because now the Diclonius girl, she's like about to jump off the building. She's about to, I guess, kill herself or something.
I'm not suggesting anymore.
I think, okay, we're kind of all over the place with topics, but I think one thing that really bothers me with the way this story implements these ideas, which I admit some of them are pretty good ideas. Actually, I don't really think there is in fiction. I don't think, unless you're just straight up making it for like a bigoted purpose, I don't think there is such a thing as a bad idea in fiction. It's all about execution. That's really my issue with this, is that good ideas, but terrible execution. Because there's like a guy, like we've already kind of put two and two together that discrimination against Diclonius sort of correlates somewhat with racism, but I think using the race metaphor itself is kind of an issue, because Diclonius are a murderous race. And
you're not really gonna get sent. Because the problem is with like real world racism is like these people don't deserve it. They haven't done anything. They just have oppressors. But like the Diclonius, no, they're murderous. They're just
like they're
murderous.
and it's like difficult to say, oh, do they deserve it? Because like, should we kill all animals that are like, you know, that kill because it's natural to kill? I think it's too messy of a metaphor to work to directly compare it to racism. But this fucking guy basically just compares it to racism, just overtly in the dialogue. So that is clearly what he's trying to go for, and I think there's some issues with that. I greatly take issue with that.
Doesn't like Barbara, like once she just jumps off the cliff, just like she just flies? Doesn't she just do that?
Right, I forgot about that. We just read it and I forgot about that. That was the funniest fucking visual. Lynn's not racist, by the way. He's definitely not racist. I just wanted to let you know that. So Neo has these like brief memories. Like it tries to slow things down back to slice of life, and this is exactly what I was talking about. Where we go back to, we finally slow things down. It stops being edgy for a little bit, but it's just Neo having these brief memories of the people that she cares about and how she wishes she could go back home and see them again. And those memories are her groping them and doing lewd stuff and like out of pocket shit. I hate this fucking manga, dude.
Do you think he wrote this manga with like one hand?
Yeah, I do. And then, you know, fucking the Diclonius guy, I can't believe, Kakuzawa, I think is his name. He like tells her the truth of like, basically after this whole monologue of him talking about the Diclonius and racism, how they're racist against us and whatever the fuck else, she basically calls him a liar. So everything you told me was a lie. Even racism.
Even the racism.
That doesn't exist. I don't know what that is.
Wait a minute.
In other news, Arakawa finally took a bath. Best manga.
Yeah.
So, as we said, Mariko flew, and she, like, T-poses and says, the voices are telling me to kill them all. And then Nana fights clone Mariko, and it's funny as fuck. Everybody looks weird as shit. The faces are weird. The anatomy's weird. This manga's weird. We feel weird for reading this manga.
And also, Kurama is just no longer...
Just loses his fucking, like, mental problems in 2 seconds. And
Didn't he, like, get shot in the brain by himself?
Yeah, he shot himself in the head, and then he's been, like, mentally insane until 2 seconds ago when he shot Mariko.
Like, that's not... Okay, no, he's missing pieces of his brain.
Arakawa, basically a fucking explosion happens from like vectors from underground, because as we said, that Kakuzawa's got his goddaughter and he's got Lucy, and so vectors just fucking blow up out of the ground, and Arakawa somehow survives, but the facility is falling apart now. And then there's a panel in which a bunch of Diclonius girls march with helmets on. You know, so-called free thinkers when the ice cream truck is nearby. And they're basically it's like a zombie apocalypse, essentially. Like they're all over the fucking facility. And this is getting out of hand. One of the fucking Marikos that was with the femboy, I guess one of the good ones, TM, that's got a thing in her head, steps in to save Arakawa from these evil Marikos that came out of nowhere and are now breaching the entire facility. And I'm gonna be honest, I got lost for like most of this. I can't keep up with which Marikos are good, which ones are bad, which ones are Marikos, and which ones are just regular Diclonius, and what the fuck is going on. I'm so
what
lost.
is going on? Now it's just
he's like introducing way too much shit at the same time. Like there's so much going on at the same time. It's like hard to keep up with all of this. I will say I did like that after the Mariko clone saves her, she then is like, "What's this in your head?" And she's about to take it out, And I thought that was like an interesting idea of like, oh, is she gonna die? Is she gonna die? And then she does take it out. And then the thing's about to kill her, but then the guy comes in and switches,
just pops it back in. Just
switches
pops
her
it
back to
in.
silly mode. By the way, the bounty hunter guy, he's still alive in all this chaos, but he won't be for long. Maybe, possibly, he might live. Who knows? But
I don't know. Oh wait, I actually gotta explain this. Okay, so like, I don't think Len Okamoto understands how tone works, because like
no,
usually
it's
in
complete
this,
tonal fucking whiplash.
yeah, because in this entire manga, like he'll go from like tense and serious to like, oh ha ha ha, funny, funny, ha funny, like you can't do that.
It's, I mean, I think, and I mean, we've been ragging on season 4, but I think The Boys did that really well, where it was able to kind of balance comedy and like actual like scary shit. Mainly because it plays into like the nervous laughter aspect of it. So sometimes the scary shit is the part that's supposed to be funny. But that's different from Lin Okamoto, because I think the issue is just that Lin Okamoto's humor is lazy. Like, it's literally just girl is dumb.
But it's like
girl does dumb thing and is cute.
menacing girl do dumb thing.
And autism. So Lucy meets the director Kakuzawa's daughter, and she breaks free from her confinement and fights the fucking daughter goddess thing and kills it
Somehow.
which, like, we were both so angry because it's like that was like the coolest thing this thing had ever introduced, and then it just gets killed by Lucy.
Yeah, and I gave Lucy the nickname of the good writing killer because, like, she is
She is solely responsible
damaged.
for killing like most of the good parts of this manga.
Yeah, like, she is either damaged or killed the good parts. Okay, like, she's mostly damaged, like Bondo. She mostly damaged. Oh wait, no, she actually killed Bondo, didn't she?
Yeah, she ripped him in half.
Yeah,
We're led to believe that she killed him, but I'm very good at foreshadowing. But she, like, this thing is a god. It's like the most powerful entity in the entire manga, and she fucking kills it. I thought it would have been like a great idea because, like, obviously for the ending of the story to happen, we need Lucy to be so broken beyond belief that she's like an entity herself. I thought it would have been a great idea to have like the god like absorb her into herself, and then it becomes like they merge into this entity. And I thought that was going to happen, but no, she just killed the god character. So now I'm just like, why is this god character even in the story?
Yeah, no. And actually, this is a good thing. Why does Len always kill off his good ideas?
Yeah, like, anytime it's close to being like, okay, this is decent, it then just undoes it, and then we go on with something even worse. Like,
it's like, why am I watching this? There's no point.
And then furthermore, we like change. He establishes like this thing can tell the future, but then last minute before it dies, we have to change the fucking the way it works. Change the way it works, like the mechanics of her future vision. Where it's like, well, no, I can't actually tell the entire future. I can only tell specific futures. And it's like, you waited until now to change it to that. Like, you should have established that from the get-go.
Yeah, he basically put himself in a writing block.
Kakuzawa then goes on another monologue, and unlike the last one, unlike the last one, this one is terrible because he basically tells Lucy in depth, I raped your mom. He says it very proudly too, like
your mother showed me her broadside.
And then he brings out Lucy's younger half brother.
It's just like, why?
This came out of nowhere. And
he's like the only male Diclonius with like both horns and hair.
That's why your mama dead. Dead as hell.
And he goes into great detail about how Lucy's mom he raped her. He tells you, yes, I did indeed. I got all up in that. And then we see, like, we talk about her being cut open and vivisected, and it's like, ow, the edge, like, Jesus Christ.
Yes, and you also see the freaking little goofy kid's face, and it's just like also tonal whiplash.
He calls himself the Homo Diclonius.
When I read that, I lost my mind. That is the dumbest name I've ever heard.
And then after all that bullshit, Lucy's like, well, guess what? You didn't actually come from mythology, bitch. And then she kills him, and the fucking little sun guy thing that was just introduced also dies. Further adding to the fact that Lin will do nothing with his ideas. He then proceeds to call this entire stretch pretentious and undermines the folklore that we just learned. It's like he hates good writing. Dude. He hates good writing, I swear to God.
Like, you're pretentious. Like, fuck you, dude.
Then why'd you put it in the story? If it's pretentious, why did you put it in the story? Takuzawa is revealed to be Uncle Ruckus, but a human. Which greatly ruins his character. It's like, he basically makes the point that, he's not actually Diclonius, which is dumb. Like, this male, keep in mind, part of the problem has been that these Diclonius have mostly been female, and they've been trying to procreate, but they want to kill human beings, but they also need human beings to procreate. And so, introducing male Diclonius solved this problem. Right?
But then you just kill him.
No, they just don't exist. He wasn't actually a male Diclonius. He was just a dude with horns for whatever fucking reason.
Yeah, he was just this Japanese mythology guy. Oh, dead now.
It's not even that they killed him, because I can get why Lucy doesn't support his ideals. It's the fact that we then say, he wasn't even Diclonius in the first place. That's what, bothers me, is like, well, then what was even the point of all this shit?
Yeah, it kind of makes the whole manga pointless.
So then we get this boring ass scene where these scientists are carrying some kind of weapon. And
it's like it's like you can honestly skip this chapter. I think
it's like this weapon's at risk of blowing up should it rock too much, which makes me wonder why they're even carrying it on a boat in the fucking first place. And they address this. They literally ask this, and then just straight up dodge the question.
Yeah, and then later on in the chapter, a freaking tidal wave comes in.
New characters are getting introduced left and right, and they're just becoming less and less memorable, and it's just hard to keep up with it. Either way, the fucking Bondo 3.0 bounty hunter guy, he finds Arakawa. There's this running gag where everybody just, because she's wearing panties and she's not wearing any pants. And so everybody that meets her is just staring at her crotch, and they start calling her Panty Woman, which is fucking impeccable dialogue. Thank you, Lin Okamoto. Either way, Bondo 3.0, he has inherited the spike balls that the psychotic guy, the Alucard, had. Yeah. He starts using them. And you know what? I fuck with the idea of just a Diclonius infection, like a outbreak or a breach. And because it's just him killing several Diclonius with these fucking spike balls.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I said, it felt like a zombie apocalypse. So we get a small segment in which Arakawa is like asking him basically why are you doing this? And then asks him is your mission more important than your life? Which is dumb because it's
it's the vaccine.
She's carrying a vaccine for the Diclonius virus, and she literally minutes after asking this, she's about to fall, and then he the ground breaks, she's about to fall, he grabs her arm, and she's holding the vaccine, and it's weighing them down, and so he's telling her to drop it, and she doesn't want to, and so he kind of hits her with that same question of is it really more important than your life? I think that's fine. I thought that part was good. I thought that was an interesting idea to implement.
You want to know what I think? I think that this story should have ended with Earth just being populated by Diclonius.
The amount of times in which spontaneous deaths just fucking come out of nowhere is insane. Diana saved them and then gets killed. I think Diana's one of the fucking Diclonius things. I don't know. There's so many fucking characters in this goddamn manga.
Yeah, one of the Mariko clones.
And, like, then we get this self-sacrifice part where the bounty hunter guy is, like, repeatedly saying, there's no time, get out of here, get out of here. And yet will not shut the fuck up. Like, he just keeps
like
talking, telling her how important
texto, just get out.
And I don't know anything about this dude, not even his name. Like, I can't even remember what his fucking name is. But we're supposed to care that he's like sending her on this fucking. It was actually really fucking funny. He puts her on a gondola and sends the gondola down to get her out of here while he sacrifices himself to the Diclonius, so that she can go see a chopper. And then she goes down the gondola,
and then there's just a bunch of Diclonius over there.
The chopper's destroyed and it's on fire. And then Arakawa just goes on this spiel where she basically gives you a full summary and analysis of her character because, again, this series, like, doesn't want you to write video essays. It wants to write them itself.
That's actually a good point. This video is just a video essay in manga form.
I like it, Kaji.
So, there's, like, this really... She even though the helicopter was a total bust, she gets saved by this ship that I think appeared in that other chapter.
Yeah.
As soon as she gets on, this guy asks her if she was raped, and then she gets like really mad, and it's like that
what?
was like that. What was the point of that? Like, anyway, this ship is like a giant. It's like a giant vector ship. It's like a ship that has vectors.
Yeah, and it's like it has like the bodies of Diclonius in it, which is why it has vectors.
This is a nifty idea, I'm not gonna lie, but it's like insanely OP, and it also like it just came out of nowhere. Like,
and I asked when watching this, yeah, no, Lucy's gonna be able to kill this. She's gonna,
yeah, she's too overpowered. Basically, it's like a manufactured Diclonius, and they think they can find the vaccine using it. And then we happen to run right into it without any struggle, just like that, because we just want to breeze through this plot point. So that kind of makes a lot of this conflict that just happened kind of fucking useless. And right when they get the vaccine, he says, hopefully nothing bad happens. And we both immediately knew, like, something bad is about to happen.
Yeah.
And guess what? Lucy shows up with a face that looks like that fucking Captain America meme. Where... And then somehow Lucy survived the island being submerged like a fucking toilet bowl, and then the vector ship gets destroyed within a few chapters of being introduced, and everything again feels fucking pointless. So yeah, that leads to the last volume, the end.
We're almost there.
Oh my god, this ending, this fucking ending. This is the most notes we've written for this. There's this scene, okay, Lucy somehow makes it back to the beach at the beginning that she washed up on, where she finds Coda. And then she sees that Coda is injured from the
incident.
So she carries him to a fucking lighthouse, and we're like supposed to care that she feels guilty, and then she gives this edgy speech where like she literally says inside of her there are two wolves, basically.
She literally says, I have two sides, cute woo girl, racist.
I have two. It's her personal Eminem and Slim Shady. Hardly any of the tensions between the characters have been resolved. Like, Yuka has not overcome her fucking obsession with Coda. Nana has not really overcome the baggage with Kurama all that well. It doesn't feel like any of these characters have particularly changed. It just feels like a string of bad things has happened to them, and that's it. Nobody's, like, learned from the experience or changed. And then Lucy then goes on a tangent about how I killed because I don't want to be bullied anymore.
I think you deserve to be bullied more for saying that.
Now, in the manga, at least Coda hates her, but I have to rescind that little compliment there because he still tries to forgive her. Mainly because of Neil, which, I mean, personally, I just think both of them should fucking die, but that's
Yeah.
over there. And it's like, why did he happen to be on the beach the minute she showed up? How did he know she was gonna be here? Why?
Like, how? Just,
Anyway, Kurama shoots Lucy.
Yeah. It's like, and we both clapped. We were like, yes, she's finally dead. And then later
Psych!
on, never freaking mind.
She fucking cut off his arm, even though it's like the fucking panel was her brains being blown out, and everyone stopped sensing her presence. But no, we were duped again because Lin Okamoto is such a genius.
Even like with the other fake out deaths, you can kind of tell like, oh, which character's gonna die. This was so like this was drawn directly to be like, yes, Lucy is dead. Not really.
And apparently this was all so we could have a contrived drama where she breaks her promise to Koda within minutes of making it. But Kurama doesn't even die from this because he as soon as Koda sees that she injured someone, he gets all mad and he's like, nah, why would you just promised me you wouldn't hurt anybody anymore. And she's like, no, I'm sorry, I was trying to defend myself. And then Kurama shoots him in the back by mistake. And then we get like a flashback to the girl with a fucking unnecessary panty shot number like 4032.
Yeah.
I just want to point out, while we were reading this, we were listening to Linkin Park for the entire final stretch.
So funny.
There were a few cool spreads. There's like a part where Lucy's arms like stretch out of the atmosphere into space, which I thought was pretty cool. I remembered liking that when I first read this manga. And then as we transition between chapters, there's a picture of Mayu's dog hailing Hitler. So
Yeah.
Nana manages, like, basically an explosion happens and Nana saves Kurama from it somehow. And then Lucy's like transformed, but she's overdoing it with her powers and now she's started melting. I don't know why. Don't fucking ask me.
I don't understand how that works.
But apparently she can heal people with her vectors, so she starts healing Koda's wounds. That and also like Lucy's fucking vectors spreading out into space. Neither of those things have been explained. We don't get why it happened. They just happened.
Yeah. And then Lucy starts finally dying, and then what? And like the Linkin Park song "What I've Done" just started playing, like the exact moment. It was so funny. But then
it was,
the
like,
moment was
perfectly
ruined for me.
It was ruined because Lucy starts singing, and then Salt's brain like immediately knew that was supposed to be Lilium. So even though we was reading the manga, it was still like playing in his head.
I wanted to, like, I was in physical pain.
It's a
when
good
that
song.
came up.
It's just that the anime plays it like way too much. Like way too
I
much.
can't listen to it. I'll admit it's a good song, but I hate listening to it.
Anyway, Lucy dies by melting, Lucy melts into a splotch in the ground. She literally becomes a small brown paste. And then there's like natural disasters being caused by her vectors. And then Koda chooses to forgive her because she melted herself and now defends her from the military because like they come up and then they're like, we need to kill her, and he's like, no, even though like just a few minutes ago he was like, I hate you for killing my family.
Oh my god. Like I like Koda just like goes from like he just like switches like, oh, do I want to forgive her? No, I can't forgive her, like 5 times.
And then
Like 5 times.
it's like she's dying and like the manga tells you in great detail how sad this is. And I don't care. I don't fucking care.
I want it to be over.
She starts floating as like a melted husk, and we get to see her body. I thought it was great that we were like she's melted, but we don't get to see what she looks like. But no, we do. We do get to see what she looks like because again, fuck subtlety. And then she says this is all Koda's fault. You know, stop having a killable family. Jeez.
I okay, like I think when like Lucy turned back in, like turned into a sludge, I thought that was like her evil side that tried convincing her to kill people. I thought that was her, right? Was it?
I don't know, dog.
Let's be real. Len's not that deep. He's not capable of that good of writing.
You're not that guy. You're not that guy, buddy. You're not that guy. So yeah, then we end it with her basically handing Coda the gun, and he has to shoot her. And then she's like, "I wanted to live with you," but then like he can't kill her because he just can't. He loves her so much. And then he does the fucking chopper face.
It's literally the chopper face, and I lost it.
We don't even get to see him shoot her. We just cut to like him and the others like living normal lives. By the way, he ended up with Yuka.
Gabe said like, "Oh, there are 2 parts that are gonna piss you off." There were 4.
There were more than 4, buddy. There were a lot. Basically what happens is for the rest of the chapter, we cut to like everything else. All the resolution's been tied up. Arakawa actually, fuck it. I said Nana was best girl. Arakawa best girl. You know, she had like the best arc. She got her dub in the end. She used she distributed
She finally
the
took a bath.
vaccine across the world and stopped the Diclonius virus. Fucking but this whole part sucks. Fucking okay. God, the God girl or whatever turned back into a human, so she didn't actually die.
Yeah, and
she's
then
not actually dead.
She like asked the bounty hunter like, "Oh, what's this? What's this? What's this?" And like
the bounty hunter also is not dead. Like he comes down there where she was, finds her. He didn't die apparently. I thought he was dead from when he sacrificed himself to all those Diclonius, but no, he's not dead. The girl's not dead. And then we get this whole bit about her talking about multiplication tables.
And it's just like, what the fuck?
To show you
stupid.
that she's dumb now because Lin hates being serious he's just a silly, whimsical little guy. Then we cut to like Nana crying over a grave, and then we're like, "Oh, did Kurama die? Because I didn't see him die, except he's not." That was another fake out.
Nana's just being over dramatic.
I don't even know whose grave that fucking was. I'm gonna be honest with you. Yeah, so Kurama, like we were led to believe Kurama died, but no, he's alive. And then now Nana wants to be Kurama's wife, which I think is disgusting because that's basically her dad figure.
Yeah.
By the way, Bondo's not dead.
Yeah, somehow,
like in this one chapter,
I was so freaking mad. Like we saw his waist get torn in half. We saw his organs.
This chapter,
how is he alive?
In this single chapter, all of the characters we thought were dead came back out of nowhere.
Except like the freaking
Except for like the really bad ones like Kakuzawa or like Alucard. Those guys are dead because they're bad guys. And also Kakuzawa's son. But like everyone else is still alive. For a series that is this gory, it really did just undo all of the like tension. And as if things could not get bad enough with all of this, because we just kept getting more and more mad with every character coming back.
I lost it when Bondo showed up because, like, how do you survive your waist getting torn in half?
And then I just kept trying to wrangle and be like, but it gets worse. It gets worse. Because then we cut to Coda. I guess was left with some sort of letter or something that said
under Lucy's grave, and it's like, oh, we get to meet again, and then guess what happens?
So it cuts to this segment where every single day he's going to the same spot in the woods every single day. Apparently he had kids with Yuka, and he takes his daughter with him every single fucking day. And then eventually he finds these 2 little girls insinuating that Lucy and New got reincarnated. So they're not dead either.
So Lucy and New didn't die. They did not die. They didn't die.
The diclonius disease also, like, I think it's great that they wrapped up the plot point, whatever, but the diclonius disease also feels pointless because it just essentially just gets undone by the vaccine.
I think that this manga should have ended with the diclonius taking over the world, and then they would have, like, captured Yuka, and then she would have been the last human to be, like, a game ended or something. And
it completely destroys all the tension regarding the oppression against dicloni, because the answer is basically like, yeah, just let them all die. They shouldn't exist. They really shouldn't exist in the first place.
Just cure them. Just cure them out. Just cure them out.
Just they shouldn't even exist in the first place. It's okay. It's fine. Yeah. This was awful.
I was like, oh, I'm gonna be able to handle the manga when, like, we watch the anime again. I wasn't strong enough.
You see what I mean, though, when I say that, like, as much as I hate the anime, it's better. It's so much better. Like, if only you knew how bad things really were. All of this shit, I'm glad did not make it into the anime. Because, like,
and yeah, somehow people think this is better because more content, like, look, actually worse.
If you like Elfen Lied manga more than the anime, you are entitled to your opinion. But I certainly did not, and I hope you can at least understand where I'm coming from here. This was fucking atrocious. This was completely painful. I hope I never have to suffer through anything this bad again.
Oh my god.
Well, thank you for joining me on this adventure, Salt.
I want to fucking kill you.
This was quite fun. Shoutouts to Themabyzo. His channel will be linked in the description.
Look at my manual video.
Yeah. Manuals are better than Elfen Lied, I think.
I would rather have a manual scratch my face off than ever watch Elfen Lied again.
As I've been working on this video every day, I kept wondering if maybe this topic was just me beating a dead horse. I often felt like nobody would care about what I have to say, given I built some of my relevance on fucking hating the series. So I spent a lot of time just procrastinating. Plus, if I ever try to go to college and get an actual professional job, I pray to God they don't find these videos because I'm embarrassed to even admit that I bothered reading it. Back when I first read the manga, I didn't even reread the parts that I already knew about, instead opting to just skip to where the manga keeps going since I already watched the fucking anime. So this is the first time I've ever read this thing from start to finish. Back when I had initially talked about the series, I half-assed my review and spent a ton of time feeling bitter and hateful towards this anime because of how shitty and pretentious I was. It was my crutch to show you that I had such enlightened taste. And I regret this mindset because I was immature and arrogant due to my personal insecurities. But even as my taste and my personality have evolved and grown, I need to just outright say, Elfen Lied is terrible. Like, indefensibly so. It's not even really the writing that offends me. A lot of the time it's just the creepy sexualization of really young children or a girl who acts like one. Much of the content in this series is pretty depraved and disgusting, and not to mention really hard to ignore when you comb back through it. But even then, I can ignore these things when a story has more to bring to the table than just that. Like, I always bring up the stuff in Berserk as an example, and that does get pretty bad, especially around the Lost Children arc, but another really good one is Made in Abyss. I won't go into detail, but both of these stories are pretty fucking disturbing and often gross, but despite the deviance, I'm still able to appreciate them both because they do have good stories. And that's kind of the main difference. It's all about execution and giving the viewer a reason to care. Elfen Lied's approach to this is severely lacking, with more emphasis put on the brutal violence and weird fetish stuff than on any sort of depth. But that's the thing, it could have been a great story, because there are times where there is serious potential. I can't deny the impact that it's had with its unique concept and just off-the-wall violence. This is one of the goriest stories I've ever seen, with only Berserk reaching the same level of pure angst and brutality, but it also inspired other stories like Stranger Things, which is a genuinely decent show. The appeal of Elfen Lied, at least for me, is the violence first and foremost. That was the reason I even checked it out to begin with, because I found it at a time when gore in anime was an insane concept to me that I had never seen before. And that reason hasn't changed, and I still watch it again from time to time, mostly to show it to friends and see how they feel about it. I no longer like using the word overrated, because my brain associates it with someone just bitching about how they're upset that people seem to be liking something that they don't. I will agree that I'm lost on some of the praise that Elfen Lied tends to get. People have called it a masterpiece, and while I might have used that term to describe it as a teenager, I don't really see it that way anymore. I've lost my initial attachment to the series, and admittedly this is because of other things I've seen that have been executed so much better. It's just not as mind-blowing to me now as it was back then when I was a vulnerable kid, but even as an adult, there are still things in this series that I found very interesting, especially for something of this type. Elfen Lied has a lot of things to say about human nature, filial bonds, the way we tend to dehumanize what we don't understand, and most notably, the fragility of the child's psyche. These concepts are explored and given a ton of depth in areas where the viewer might not realize because they're too focused on what the real selling point of Elfen Lied is, which is the violence. So the question becomes this: what is it about the anime that left an impression on me enough that I think it totally puts the manga to shame? Well, I've been making the point over and over again that the aesthetic appeal is much better, but I do think it runs a little bit deeper than that. This was directed by Mamoru Kanbei, the same guy who did Sound of the Sky. This is an anime that many people, including myself, still love to this day. It's a slice of life about the horrors of war, but it also touches on other concepts like loss, trauma, and identity. I might make a video on that series in the future because it's a banger. And yeah, there's a pee fetish scene in that one as well. I don't understand it, but I guess I should just suck it up and get used to it already. I didn't even realize until I had seen the similar introduction sequences recreating Gustav Klimt's art. Upon seeing that the man who made what was my least favorite anime is also behind one of my favorite slice-of-life shows, I've realized something about Elfen Lied and the concept of adaptation in general. I remember for so long people always talked about how the Elfen Lied manga is better. Anytime you said anything critical of the anime, it was always about how the manga was far superior and you should read it. I have no idea why this is the common consensus, because I've never seen anybody actually explain why they believe this, aside from the fact that it has a more fleshed out ending. But if Kentaro Miura passing around the same time that Attack on Titan's very horrible ending came out is any indicator, it's that a story doesn't really need an ending to be a good story. Of course, that statement, when I wrote it at the time, did not age well because Berserk actually will be getting an ending, but you get the point. I don't think the anime is a masterpiece, especially not when you consider the vast amount of dark anime that I think are executed much better. But I do think that sometimes people tend to dismiss the ideas presented in Elfen Lied just because the gore and nudity stick out a lot more. What makes a good adaptation for me is when it's completely different, yet still faithful and respectful towards what it's trying to adapt. Many people might use the film Oldboy as an example of a good adaptation that completely changes its source material, but to me that doesn't even feel like the same story with the same intent. It's a fantastic film that took concepts from pretty decent manga, but the message is completely and totally different. What I'm saying is that with shows like Monster, Vinland Saga, or Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, these adaptations are fine for what they are, since they allow people who don't like reading manga a chance to get into the story and see what it's all about, but relatively speaking about them as adaptations, they're bland and they leave a lot to be desired. It's just a big one-to-one translation of the manga with very few changes made. That is not something I consider myself invested in, because the charm of the manga doesn't fully come through in the exact same way. It's kind of like the Watchmen movie, which kept in as much of the comic as it possibly could. Yeah, it's there and it's executed mostly the same, but it doesn't have that Alan Moore charm. I don't feel any of these characters except maybe Rorschach. You know what one of my favorite adaptations of anything is? This obscure little zombie TV show you might have heard of called The Last of Us. fucking beautiful show based on an emotional and brilliant video game. And I already really liked the story of the game because it's so fucking good at getting you to give a shit about your character. It motivates you to progress onward purely because of how cute and funny the charming dynamic between Joel and Ellie is. So when the TV show readapted it with more detail, adding in extra lore and explained certain mechanics of the world, fleshing it out and filling in the gaps, they somehow managed to make an already brilliant and beautiful story even better, though their work was mostly cut out for them. But that's what I mean, is that an adaptation should pay respect to its source material while also expanding on it in certain ways. Other really good examples of this are Hoseki no Kuni and Invincible, all of which I prefer over their comic and manga versions respectively. The point I'm trying to make is that Elfen Lied's anime was only as bad as it was because it served as a great foundation for a story that left more to be desired. Pair that with the fact that it's literally incomplete and has a filler ending that attempts to tie up as many loose ends as possible, and it's easy to see why people didn't like it very much compared to the manga. But to me, I will always remember the moment at the end where a girl knocks on the door and Coda goes to answer it, only for the clock that Neo had been working on all this time to suddenly go off out of nowhere. Subtle, ambiguous touches like that leave far more of an impact on me than anything the manga presented at all. So with that, why did I put these videos together in the first place? Well, partly because I think there is genuine value in trying to understand why bad media is bad, but I also just find the entire prospect of the series really fascinating. Why does something feel so right in the moment, and then a few years later, it's complete and utter dog shit? On the surface, you could say that we found it shocking and new, and then we got bored of it. And you'd be pretty close to hitting the nail on the head when it comes to Elfen Lied. I know the reason that I personally loved it so much was because my reference for anime was exclusively popular shonen series like Naruto, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and Dragon Ball. I didn't expect an anime to talk about such uncomfortable topics like rape, and considering I was a minor, very few of the grosser aspects of the series particularly bothered me. For obvious reasons, becoming an adult changed the way that I viewed that sort of thing, but I simply do not accept that as the sole reason it has aged bad. So many shows can push boundaries, even delve into straight-up degenerate territory, and still be compelling and interesting. The problem with Elfen Lied is not in how shocking it is, because that's entirely what it sets out to be. It makes me just as uncomfortable now as it did when I was a teenager. The real reason that Elfen Lied aged poorly is entirely because the writing does not have the strength to do what it wants to do. The only part of this entire series that actually works as intended is literally just how shocking it is in the first place, which is not hard to pull off at all. Everything else varies from being a small nugget of a good idea executed poorly to an offensive lack of subtlety born purely out of blatant insecurity. The series is not confident at all, which again is primarily because it's Lin's first story. The shock factor is core to its entire appeal, but when you don't have anything else beyond just the shock factor, well then that's all it's ever going to be remembered for. But even so, without having experienced this, I'm not sure I would have gotten into other series like Berserk, which I know is a backhanded praise, but that's why I still insisted on putting these videos together in the first place. This was where I started, and even though a series like this absolutely would not fly in our current day and age, the fact that it resonated with so many people over the years, I think, is at least a sign of something. All the things that I complain about, they're not what people remember about this series. People remember the beautiful moments, the crazy fights, and the dramatic twists. Plus, with the entire second half of the manga sort of feeling like the season 2 we never got, things like art style, tasteful storytelling, or pacing don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. There was a universe in which characters were actually at threat of dying. There were no power-ups or get-out-of-jail-free cards. It's a tragic series with a tragic message, and that alone is why it resonated with so many people. I will probably never, ever revisit this series again, but I don't regret having done so, because getting in touch with the version of me that used to like this series has shown me exactly why I love stories in the first place.